Jeremiah 32, 1-25. Devotional focus verse. So Hanameel, mine uncle's son, came to me in the court of the prison according to the word of the Lord, and said unto me, Buy my field, I pray thee, that is in Anathoth, which is in the country of Benjamin, for the right of inheritance is thine, and the redemption is thine. Buy it for thyself. Then I knew that this was the word of the Lord. Jeremiah 32:8. Several years ago, I had a good job at a bank in downtown Portland. I had just received a promotion and had been assured of continued advancement at that location. However, God impressed upon my heart that I should post for a position at a much smaller branch. My wife and I prayed about it and strongly felt that was what the Lord would have me to do, so I applied for a job at that smaller location. My boss at the time was baffled at my decision and did his best to convince me that this was a terrible career move. He could not understand why I would choose to leave what he felt was a very good position with much potential for advancement. His view of the situation seemed to be confirmed about a month or so later when I went to the new location and promptly found out that the branch was going to be closed. I began to wonder, God, why did you send me here? I felt so sure that you wanted me to take this position. About a week later, I received instructions to go to work at yet another location, and in the end, several transfers were made, causing me to be promoted in a way that does not normally happen. I look back at it and just marvel. God had it figured out all along the way. All I had to do was trust Him and obey. In our focus verse, the prophet Jeremiah felt led of God to take an unusual step. God told Jeremiah that his cousin Hanameel would come and ask him to buy land in Anathoth, an area that had already been seized by the enemy Chaldeans. Given that Jeremiah was in prison and knew the captivity of Judah would last for 70 years, the command on the surface would seem illogical and poorly timed. However, Jeremiah was assured that this instruction was indeed from God, and he followed through in obedience. The prophet's act of faith concretely demonstrated to the people of Judah that God would one day restore their land and rebuild Jerusalem. In our day, too, we may be called on by the Lord to follow Him in ways that we do not understand. Though the timing and circumstances may appear strange to us, we need to obey. We can trust that the God who fulfilled His impossible promises to Jeremiah is also in control of our future. He will work in our lives if we will only follow Him in obedience. Background information. Today's text tells of Jeremiah buying a field in his hometown, which was an object lesson illustrating God's promise to restore the land of the Jewish people. The events of the chapter took place in the 10th year of Zedekiah. Jerusalem had been under siege by Babylon since the previous year. Verses 3-5 could be in parentheses because they explain why Jeremiah was in prison. According to the law, Jeremiah met the qualifications to redeem the specified property in Anathoth. His purchase of the land was a demonstration of his faith that God would fulfill His promise to restore the Jewish people to their homeland. The transaction was accomplished using all the legal and business steps of the time. Gold and silver were weighed because there were not yet any Jewish coins. While the value of the shekel at that time is not known, it seems that the amount was small. However, scholars believe that Jeremiah paid what was considered the full price. A deed was signed and witnessed, and then it was stored in a pottery container that was probably sealed with pitch, which was a common method of preserving important documents. A duplicate deed was available for people's review. Baruch was a scribe, and he recorded many of Jeremiah's prophecies. This is the first time his name is mentioned in the book of Jeremiah. Verses 16 through 25 contain Jeremiah's prayer after he had purchased the property. He needed reassurance, and his prayer is exemplary. He considered God's greatness and omniscience and recounted past miracles. Then he mentioned the mounts, see verse 24, which were terraces the enemy built outside the wall of Jerusalem to gain a better firing angle to reach within the wall. Jeremiah's obedience demonstrated his faith in God's word, since the famine and pestilence that had been prophesied had already begun. Conclusion: it takes trust and faith in God to do what He has called us to do, even when we do not understand. But we will be blessed if we do so.
Chapter 32. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord in the 10th year of Zedekiah king of Judah, which was the 18th year of Nebuchadrezzar. For then the king of Babylon's army besieged Jerusalem, and Jeremiah the prophet was shut up in the court of the prison which was in the king of Judah's house. For Zedekiah king of Judah had shut him up, saying, Wherefore dost thou prophesy, and say, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall take it. And Zedekiah king of Judah shall not escape out of the hand of the Chaldeans, but shall surely be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon, and shall speak with him mouth to mouth, and his eyes shall behold his eyes. And he shall lead Zedekiah to Babylon, and there shall he be until I visit him, saith the Lord. Though ye fight with the Chaldeans, ye shall not prosper. And Jeremiah said, The word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Behold, Hanameel the son of Shallum thine uncle shall come unto thee, saying, Buy thee my field that is in Anathoth, for the right of redemption is thine to buy it. So Hanameel mine uncle's son came to me in the court of the prison according to the word of the Lord, and said unto me, Buy my field, I pray thee, that is in Anathoth, which is in the country of Benjamin, for the right of inheritance is thine, and the redemption is thine. Buy it for thyself. Then I knew that this was the word of the Lord. And I bought the field of Hanameel my uncle's son, that was in Anathoth, and weighed him the money, even 17 shekels of silver. And I subscribed the evidence, and sealed it, and took witnesses, and weighed him the money in the balances. So I took the evidence of the purchase, both that which was sealed according to the law and custom, and that which was open. And I gave the evidence of the purchase unto Baruch, the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, in the sight of Hanameel mine uncle's son, and in the presence of the witnesses that subscribed the book of the purchase, before all the Jews that sat in the court of the prison. And I charged Baruch before them, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Take these evidences, this evidence of the purchase, both which is sealed, and this evidence which is open, and put them in an earthen vessel, that they may continue many days. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Houses and fields and vineyards shall be possessed again in this land. Now when I had delivered the evidence of the purchase unto Baruch the son of Neriah, I prayed unto the Lord, saying, Ah, Lord God, behold, Thou hast made the heaven and the earth by Thy great power and stretched out arm, and there is nothing too hard for Thee. Thou showest loving kindness unto thousands, and recompensest the iniquity of the fathers into the bosom of their children after them. The great, the mighty God, the Lord of hosts is His name. Great in counsel and mighty in work, for Thine eyes are open upon all the ways of the sons of men, to give every one according to his ways, and according to the fruit of his doings, which hast set signs and wonders in the land of Egypt, even unto this day, and in Israel, and among other men, and hast made Thee a name as at this day, and hast brought forth Thy people Israel out of the land of Egypt with signs, and with wonders, and with a strong hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with great terror. and hast given them this land which thou didst swear to their fathers to give them, a land flowing with milk and honey. And they came in and possessed it, but they obeyed not thy voice, neither walked in thy law. They have done nothing of all that thou commandedst them to do. Therefore thou hast caused all this evil to come upon them. Behold the mounts, they are come unto the city to take it, and the city is given into the hand of the Chaldeans that fight against it, because of the sword, and of the famine, and of the pestilence. And what thou hast spoken is come to pass, and behold, thou seest it. And thou hast said unto me, O Lord God, Buy thee the field for money, and take witnesses. For the city is given into the hand of the Chaldeans.